What's happening, guys? Today I'm out here with my buddy Alex and we are doing some midwinter basin perch fishing. If you've never done it, it's a lot of fun, but it can also be a little bit daunting going out into a big lake and trying to figure out where these fish are somewhere out in the middle of the lake. So we're going to kind of show you how we break down water and ultimately how we catch these fish, and really showing you how light we pack when we come out here. Being mobile is the biggest part of being successful out here perch fishing. You can set up on a spot and just kind of grind it out and wait for fish to come through, but being mobile is really important. So we're going to show you how we set our stuff up, how we find these fish, and hopefully we're going to catch a few. Let's do it. So figuring out how to break down a basin can be a little bit intimidating, but on this particular lake it's pretty easy. So we're actually set up on the deepest part of this lake, which gets down to about 36-37 feet, and that's kind of essentially what we're looking for. These really deep holes tend to concentrate fish in a fairly small area. Now, that being said, we did fish a little bit shallower. We started up in about 20 to 25 feet, worked our way to 30, ended up catching a few fish over in 33 feet, and now we're working out even a little bit deeper, trying to find some more active fish that are maybe a little bit more concentrated. So one thing that I've also noticed out here when we're basin fishing in particular is I do really well when we find spots that are mirror images of one another. So where I have this waypoint right up here is kind of on the northwest part of the basin, this deep hole right here. And one thing that I've found is that a lot of times if you can find fish in a spot like this, if you mirror that, you can also find them right over here, and down here. A lot of times there's something they're relating to along this break line that is kind of concentrating these fish in one spot. Out here, we're looking for kind of like a mud to sand transition on the bottom, and that tends to really attract fish to a lot of areas where there's going to be some kind of insect activity. You get all these little bugs that are kind of roaming around out here in the mud. They hit that hard bottom, they have nowhere to go but up, and that's where the fish ambush those. So that's kind of how we're looking to break down some of this water out here in this main lake basin. So like I mentioned in the intro, we're packing really light, and that's really a big key to coming out here and doing a lot of running and gunning basin fishing. And we're not coming out here and drilling, you know, 10-12 holes in a spot and trying it. We're drilling one or two, fish for about 5 minutes. If we don't mark anything or don't catch anything, we're gonna move. And this basin isn't really big. And what I should say is the deepest water, the deepest hole of this basin isn't super big. So we're not moving too terribly far, but we're moving far enough that we're not doing this by foot. We do have a machine that makes things a lot easier, but we're moving a good 50 to 100 yards at a time, really trying to maximize the area that we're covering and trying to find a more active school of fish. So again, packing really light. We've brought, Alex doesn't even have a chair right now. I've got a folding chair, my graph. We've got a rod case loaded up with a handful of rods for some different stuff. Little sled, rocking the K-drill, keeping things super compact. That way it's a lot easier to move around. We did bring a shack with us if we get on the spot where we're really catching a lot of fish and we want to get out of the wind. But for the most part, we do this without a shack. It's just a lot more efficient to move around and maximize the amount of time you have lines in the water. Let's tease them up, tease them up, tease them up, tease them up. Still on it. There he is. Hooked up. That one I teased up off the bottom just a little bit.
That looks like a better fish. You still using the little jig?
Let's see here. Oh yeah. Jumbotron. That is what we're out here looking for, guys. Jumbotron perch. And that one's actually on the new Eagle Claw Arctic tungsten jig. Check that thing out. That is a sick new jig by Eagle Claw. Awesome perch. We're gonna let this guy go. And I already know people are gonna be commenting, how are you letting those fish go? How can you do that? I don't have to keep them. I just like catching them. So we'll let that guy go. Let's catch another one.
I say decent, it's gonna be the smallest one, I think.
It might be. Oh, it's a beast. And it popped off. Dude, that is a sick perch. Nice, dude.
Look at the color on it, too.
Gorgeous. Beautiful midwinter basin perch. Dude, sick. Sick fish, man. All right, I got to catch one of those. He's on it. Got him that time. All right.
Like a little better fish.
I don't know. Don't think so.
All of a sudden, the fish I was marking is gone, Noah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, definitely just a freaking slob. What a monster. Yeah. Okay. So as far as the equipment we're using goes, pretty standard panfish stuff. We're rocking a 24-inch medium light. I am rocking a spring bobber on here. Kind of old school, but you know what? Sometimes old school works. I definitely prefer to have some kind of a spinning reel, something I can get line up quickly with. However, center line or center pin reels, the little fly reel kind of things, they work awesome too for picking up line really fast. On the business end, we're using a handful of different things. Now, being that we're fishing in deep water, usually 30 feet or deeper, you want stuff that's gonna get down relatively quickly, especially with roaming fish. It seems like as soon as you're on the fish, you're off them again. So being able to bring a fish up quickly, unhook it, and get back down is really, really important. We also use a handful of other baits. One that works really, really well for calling fish in from a long ways away is a spoon, and we are dealing with relatively clear water out here. This is just a little forage minnow spoon, the tiniest size they make. I'm not even really sure what this is. I want to say this is like a 16th ounce probably, and tipping that with a spike or a wax worm. Today the bite was a little bit slower, so we're using spikes, something a little smaller. And you'll notice that I also have this on a snap, a tiny little snap. I haven't found that fish don't like a bait because of a snap. It's too big or flashy or whatever, but I have noticed that a lot of times tying direct to a spoon like this does inhibit the action of the spoon, especially when you're down super deep, and we actually have a really good mark down there on the bottom right now. So I'm gonna drop this spoon down real quick just to kind of keep them around.
This one might be a little better. Not big, big.
Ooh, Jumbotron, dude.
Oh,
Sick.
told you it was a little better. That's a beauty. Nice. That's a real big fish.
What did that fish eat?
Real tiny tungsten.
Downsizing.
Yep, downsizing. Look at the belly on that sucker,
All right, guys, the wind's starting to pick up. Our bite has definitely slowed down, so we're gonna call it a day. Hopefully, we were able to help kind of break down some of this basin fishing for you, and you'll be able to come out and take advantage of some of this awesome midwinter perch action. So until the next video, I don't know what we're gonna be doing, but we're gonna go get some food, and we'll see you next time.